Hello, I am Ashwati. Today's section is scheduled for class 9 and I will be dealing with English, the first chapter from English textbook for class 9. That is The Fun They Have, written by Isaac Asimov, and it is a science fiction short story. And we will be dealing with it in deep, and first we will be exploring the author's short introduction, then we have the setting, then the theme, then the character analyzation, and last the summary. So the class will be go like this. So let us start the analyzation. Now we are going to deal with The Fun They Had by Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov, an American writer. He was known for his science fiction novels and writings. He was a professor of biochemistry at Boston University. So, what is science fiction? That term I will be explaining to you. It is a genre in literature, that is a branch in fiction that deals with technology, space exploration, time travel, then extraterrestrial life. So this type of things are included, and also it deals with future world, okay, about the computers, the satellite, the e-world, everything. So that future prediction world and the incidents that are not real, that are virtual, so such type of things are dealt with science fiction. Isaac Asimov is a one who is famous for his science fiction novels, and he has written so many novels and so many short stories and other writings in science fiction. That is why he is important. In this chapter 2, we are going to deal with the future world. Okay, the writer is dealing with the future world where there is no textbook, that is there is no book as hard copy, and there is no classrooms. Okay, in the future world, that is the date given is 2157, in which there will be no classrooms. The classrooms will be, the traditional classrooms will be replaced with the virtual classrooms, and instead of hard copy of the textbook, we will be having soft copies, that is the e-books. Okay, so that is a situation that is depicting by Isaac Asimov. And the interesting fact I have to convey with you that during this lockdown, we too are in this situation. Now in the situation, we can't able to conduct classes in schools, in tuition centers and other institutions, the regular or the traditional way of teacher student relationship, classroom and all. So now we are using technological advancement for taking classes, right? So what the situation or what are the things we are reading inside this chapter is like parallelly happening between you and me, right? I am taking classes through online, you are listening to it, and now the books are not so much available because of the difficulty. You will be having books, like you having PDF of different textbooks that you will be reading. So this is the world that is changing according to the convention. So this is an interesting fact, right? We are experiencing such a thing today. So now let us analyze the chapter. It is a very small chapter, but it is very fun. Hope you will enjoy this chapter. Okay, so let's begin our journey to explore into this particular text. The setting of this particular chapter is in the world of the future, where computers dominate everything. So our traditional classroom, like students are sitting together, classroom, desk, benches, then the board with chalk and or marker, then the education system like using books, everything has changed completely, and now we are in a capsule form, like we are with our computer and everything is available in a click. and we are no longer sitting together in a classroom and learning things from the teacher. Now our teacher is the computer or the e-device, and we are inside a e-learning classroom. Now we are going to discuss about the theme of this particular chapter. The main theme in the short story, The Fun They Had, is that of education. That is, the narrative deals with the future world of education, where computerized devices and other devices will take over our education system, and we are like socially distanced from each person. Okay, the technology, due to technological advancement, we can sit inside our room and can learn everything or interacted with everything, rather than going and talking to persons in the far away places. So here what the technology is creating is, human beings are distancing from each other. Okay, we are parting. We are now inside a room with our computer devices, and now what we are losing is the traditional touch of the fun, and also the magical touch of time together with our friends, the traditional education, and also the social interactions. So that is the main theme our author is conveying with us. That is how technology is creating a great difference in the education system and also human interactions. Now we are going to discuss the characters inside the story. The first character, our protagonist, is Margie, and the second character is Tommy, his friend and neighbor. Then along with Margie, we have the robot teacher who is taking lesson to Margie in a regular basis, and that one is very strict. Then we have Margie's mother, Mrs. Jones, and the next character is country inspector. Country inspector is someone whose duty is to repair the robotic teachers. Okay, so if parents say complaints that our children are not taking lessons in a fast way, the country inspector will come and they will check the robotic teacher and repair it. That is installation of new chapters, or if any problem is with the robotic teacher, they will correct the mistake. So that is the duty of country inspector. Now let us analyze each character in deep, because there are possibility of asking character sketch from your chapter, so you need to know. Dealing with the first character, that is the protagonist of the story, our main character Margie. She is an 11-year-old girl, and she is very innocent, and she is very curious. Okay, she is allowed to be in a class that is very active, and also she allowed to have an interactive section classrooms. Okay, but actually that is not possible, because now the era is fully virtual and she is passive, because the robotic teacher is taking class and she is very passive. And there is an incident inside the story. While we are discussing, we will discuss. She scores very less mark in geography. This is because she is very curious to ask question to others. Okay, but in the robotic class it is not possible, because the robot is taking classes and she is passively listening to it. So that may be the reason that she scored very less mark in geography, because she is very active girl and she is very curious about everything. And we can see there are so many instances inside this chapter that she continuously asks question to Tommy and others. So she is very innocent and she is very curious, and she dream of the traditional school and also its possibilities towards the end of the chapter. So this is about the character sketch of our main character Margie. Now we are discussing about the next character, that is Tommy. Tommy is 13-year child and he is the neighbor of Margie, and it is Tommy who finds a old book that is that papers are wrinkled and yellow, and he shares this particular book with Maggie. And even though Tommy is a friend of Maggie, he find it very difficult when Maggie asks him so many questions. He considered Maggie's character as annoying and also very very irritating. Okay, and Tommy is not like Maggie. Tommy is a character who is very much interested with the e-learning and virtual classroom rather than traditional classroom, as he is we can say that he is a passive learner, and he don't like the traditional way of reading book and also the traditional classroom. We can get the instance of his character quality from the book once we read the text. And this is the character of Tommy. Now the character of Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones is the mother of Margie, and she is like she want her child Margie to be succeed in every space of life. So that is why she became very angry when Margie scores very less mark in geography, and she calls the country inspector to repair the teacher and reinstall geography lessons. And she believes in the ability of the virtual teacher, that is the robot, and the e-learning, so that that teachers are very much capable of handling students, and she want her child to be in strict schedule of everything, like properly studying lessons and to have a proper chronological order in every span of life. So that is the character of our Margie's mother, Mrs. Jones. So she is very strict mother, and she want to see a bright future for Margie. Now we will be discussing about the character of country inspector. He is a mechanical teacher. His duty is to help the children who is very difficult in dealing with the lesson, and he is described as a round little man with red face and whole pokes. And he is a man, we can get some remarks from the story that he know that it's well that the mechanical teachers cannot handle situation very easily or are not capable fully to handle the children's attention and children's education system. We can get a point from the communication between him with the Mrs. Jones, as when Mrs. Jones complained that Marg is not able to follow the lessons, he says that it is not the problem of Margie, it is the problem of the mechanical teacher, that is the robot. The lessons inside it is installed in a such a way that it is very fast for the children to learn. So it is the fault with the system, not the child. So this is the remark made by him. So he is a man, even though he is a mechanical teacher, he know that I think he prefer traditional way of teaching rather than mechanical. So this is my point of view from inside the text. If you are going with the test and find another dimension, it will be more good. So this ends the character sketch. Now we are going to the summary and analysis of the story. The story is presented in the year 2157, when every child has his own mechanical teacher and schools are not like today. And before going to the analysis, I need to add one thing that I have forgotten. Asimov has wrote this story in 1951, and he first wrote this for a newspaper, and later the Fun They Had story is published in fantasy and science fiction magazine. So this you have to remember. So starting with the story, the scene of the story opens with this particular girl, that is Margie, who is living in the year 2157, and she is writing a diary about his neighbor and friend Tommy had recently found a book. Okay, so founding a book is a is like something an inventory thing, because now the century is not today's century. It is like so far of the future, okay, and book is no longer exist, and it is the world of virtual learning and e-classrooms and e-learning. So book is replaced with the e-textbook, that is the telebooks. It is called the telebooks, and like that we have in the Amazon Kindle and like the notepads, it is telebooks, okay. So finding a book that is having papers and the text or words inside the book is static is a very curious thing, or inventory thing for this century's students. So Margie says that the book is having a yellowish color and it is very wrinkled, shows that it is very old, and the word inside the textbook is standing, okay. In e-text the text are like moving, and there will be pictures that are animated one, and so she is very fascinated with this particular book. And Tommy calls this book as waste, because inside one book there will be only one story or novel something, but their television screen can have a million books on it, okay. So with a click they can read a 1,000 or 10,000 book, and this particular of book is having one type of subject in one book. But Margie is having the same opinion. At the same time she is very curious to know about what is a book about, and Tommy tells her that it is about school, even though Margie hated school, because now she is inside her house, and her study room is close to her bedroom, and it is all mechanical teachers coming and giving her test after test and analyzation within a second. So she hated school, but Tommy tell her that it is not like the schools of today. The schools of past are like the teacher and students are inside a building called school, and there they will sit together, study, and they use the hard copied book, and there will be fun. Every element of the school is told by Tommy to her, and she is like bored with the mechanical schooling and all. So that time her mother calls her that she is scoring very less mark in geography, and her mother sends for the country inspector, and she invites the country inspector, and the country inspector visit her home, and he says that it is not the mistake of Margie, because the geography classes or geography sector inside the mechanical teachers was geared a little too quick. So the lessons are too quick that this 11-year child cannot able to pick up. So this particular man came and he reinstalled the system and set up everything, okay. So it has slowed down to an average 10-year level, and he assures to Margie that there will be no problem further. And Margie is very curious to know about the school that existed in the past during their grandfathers and great grandfathers time, and Tommy shares whatever information he know about the school to Margie, and the same age children sit together and they share information and about the school rooms, then everything. So later it was time for Margie to take his class, and she goes to his school room, which is right next to her bedroom, and the mechanical teacher is waiting for her, and she is like putting her homework in a slot with a sign. So once Margie is up with the homework, she has to put the homework in a slot, and the mechanical teacher will calculate and give her the assessment. So this is the functioning. And while the mechanical teacher is waiting for her homework and to take the next lesson in mathematics, she is still thinking about the old school they had when her grandfathers and great grandfathers was a little boy, and about all the kids from the whole neighborhood come laughing, shouting in the schoolyard, sitting together in the schoolrooms, and going home together at the end of the day. So Margie thinks that those schools were far better than the schools of today because they offered great funds to the students. Okay, so this was the thought of Margie. So this is the end of the story. Please read the text. And so that is the end of today's discussion section. I try to include all the details, the possible things I have included with the explanation. So the next duty is giving activities to you, that is exercises. So the first activity you have to do is you have to start reading the text and include the difficult words along with their meaning. You have to do it and forward to me through WhatsApp or email, whatever thing it's possible. Then the second activity is there is comprehension check or question answer section in your book. So go with the questions and answer, write the answer by your own. Don't refer the that is Google or something. Write your own answer. Okay, I want your own answer. Only that way you will be going to read the text. Then other than the comprehension check, if it is possible, try to pick up questions or frame questions inside the textbook, whether it is one word, two, or essay, whatever you can able to do, you can do and forward to me. I want to check it each and everyone. Then comment me the feedback about the video if I have done any mistake. And one thing, in some of my voice over, I used the Margie instead of Maggie. So please pardon me. The name of this protagonist is Margie, Margie. Okay, so that is a mistake I have made from my part. So that is the end of today's section. We will be discussing our next section in the next week. And thank you. So do your activity. I am waiting for checking your answers. Thank you. That's the end of today's section.